Zombies. You've seen them in movies.
Zombies are the most frightening monster in history.
Is there any truth to their story?
Every culture creates its own version of zombie.
Could they be real?
There have been diseases throughout history that have mimicked the behaviors of the zombie virus. The plausibility, it's there.
You would never be up against one zombie. You would be up against thousands or millions.
How would you survive? What would you do day to day?
It is total destruction. The zombie spine cut in half.
Are you ready for a zombie apocalypse? Death is man's ultimate fear. But there is something even more terrifying. When the dead come back to life and become our worst nightmare, the zombie.
Every kind of human attribute is gone. They look human, but they're not who they were.
They're just driven to try to eat human flesh. And they're never satiated.
It is really like a plague, very much like being in a swarm of insects. You're surrounded on all sides, and there is no escape.
They are everything we are most afraid of.
What really makes them frightening, it's not just one zombie, it's a mob. You just can't outrun them. You can't kill all of them.
The notion that they are coming for you simply because you have a beating heart is absolutely terrifying.
Zombies present us with a horrifying reality, with the possibility not just of our own death, but the death of our entire civilization.
All other monsters try to destroy individual humans. Zombies come after the entire human race.
To understand zombies, you have to know where they come from. Our modern zombie comes from a film made in 1968 by a then unknown American director named George Romero, Night of the Living Dead.
What George Romero did was rewrite the book about zombies. He turned zombies into an apocalyptic creature.
He wanted a monster that didn't have a definition. So he created a creature that didn't necessarily have a specific explanation for its origin.
Romero's vision of the end of civilization as a zombie apocalypse captured the primal fears of Americans in 1968. What started as a low-budget horror movie became an international sensation. Today, Romero's zombies continue to come back from the dead in ever greater numbers. More than half of all zombie movies have been made since September 11th, 2001.
They're booming in film, they're booming in literature, they're booming in video games. Everywhere you look, there's a zombie right now. It's ingrained in pop culture.
But Romero did not invent the zombie. The creature has been around as long as man has walked the earth. Zombies first appeared in one of the earliest works of literature, the Epic of Gilgamesh.
In one of our oldest known works, the Epic of Gilgamesh, Ishtar says, I will raise up the dead and they will eat the living. The dead will outnumber the living. This sounds a lot like a zombie apocalypse.
The word zombie means animated corpse and comes from the Haitian voodoo religion, which has its roots in Western Africa.
Historically, a zombie is rooted in the voodoo religion, and it's a person who has had their mind controlled by somebody else and is working as a slave.
The voodoo zombie that originated in Africa and ended up in Haiti is very different from Romero's zombie.
The word zombie technically refers to the traditional Haitian voodoo zombie. That has nothing to do with the modern culture of the viral, ravenous, carnivorous horde that we now refer to as zombies.
When we look back, we see that most great civilizations have been afraid of zombie-like creatures coming back from the dead. In China, the living dead are called Jiangshi.
The Jiangshi is a fascinating and terrible monster from Chinese folklore. It's a hungry ghost that returns to devour the living. This ghost rises to attack not only the living, but its own family as a retribution for not being properly buried.
Like many cultures, the Chinese perform burial rituals to make sure the dead pass safely to the afterworld and don't come back to threaten the living.